Hi, I'm Russ with ESPservice.com, and in this video we're going to talk about the difference between tanning and bronzing. Now this is in the context of home tanning beds and tanning lamps, tanning bulbs that is, for the tanning beds. Now I think it's important to understand first that tanning lamps and bronzing lamps are all within the ultraviolet light spectrum, UV light. So if we take light as we are used to it, what we see as human beings is simply the rainbow of light. This is the spectrum of visible light from red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. So this is measured from 400 to 700 nanometers on the scale. Again, this is visible light, just to break you into this and give you an understanding of what I'm talking about. And these are the different wavelengths you see going from 400 to 700. Now, to understand a wavelength, that's what this diagram is here for. These are all waves. Now, picture ripples in a pond. So you have the waves here obviously are closer together. So a wavelength is the distance between one crest of one wave and the other crest of the next wave. That's the wavelength. So obviously when you get out here to the higher wavelengths, there's more distance in between there. So that's a brief explanation on wavelengths of light, and this is what we're going to be talking about in this video. So you see this is the visible spectrum, just a little sliver of the whole spectrum here, which spans from gamma rays, X-rays, ultraviolet, visible, infrared, and radio waves. So mainly we're going to be talking about this, the ultraviolet spectrum of light, which is just a small portion of that. This represents a curve, an output curve of what I would call your typical tanning lamp. UV is outside of the visible spectrum. Again, right here we show 400 to 700 is the visible spectrum. So just outside of that 400 down to 280, or if you're going up to 180 to 400 nanometers, this is the spectrum of UVA and B. And on this chart here, on the bottom, this is 0% output, and this is 100%. So this is just a relative scale of showing you the output that you're seeing of the different wavelengths of light. This is how much intensity is coming out of the lamp. So you see it varies. You have here down in the UVB section, it's almost nothing. And then there's just like a little blip here where it peaks. And then the main curve comes up here and peaks at around 350 nanometers and then goes back down to 0 where it reaches the visible spectrum of light. So there is visible light in the tanning lamps, but we're only talking about what's effective for your tan. So when you compare that to, I'm just going to show you right now, this is an output graph of a bronzing lamp, and you can see how different it is. Again, we're starting at 280 and we're going up to 400 nanometers, but you see in the output, the bronzing lamp does not have very much in the UVB region. There's another little blip right here, and then it comes up, and there's a peak around 370, and then it goes down to 0 from there. So that represents the output of a bronzing lamp. So I took, and you can see this on our website, I'll put a link down in the description. This is a full spectrum graph where I have overlaid, this is the whole spectrum, this is just the visible light right here from 400 to 700, and then this is the tanning spectrum from 280 to 400. And then the red curve here represents the bronzing lamps, and this yellowish one here represents the tanning lamps. With them overlaid like this, you can do a direct comparison. which is what I have here. So again, you can appreciate the difference now between these two kinds of lamps. Here's your regular tanning lamp in this yellowish color here, and then the red represents the bronzing curve. So again, we're starting out at 280, and you see both of them have a peak in this UVB section, but the tanning lamp has a lot more. There's a lot more in the UVB region here. Now, when we move over to UVA2 here, this is where a big difference is. You have a lot more of this in the tanning lamp as opposed to just about nothing in the bronzing lamp. So then, as we come up here into the UVA1 spectrum, you can see the bronzing lamp has twice as much UVA on this peak here than we have in the tanning lamp. And then it goes back down to 0 from there. So what does this mean? So the difference in these wavelengths of light that you're seeing means that you're going to get a different experience when you expose yourself to these wavelengths of light. With the tanning process, I think it's important to understand that your UVB and your UVA are doing two different things. The UVB is what triggers the production of melanin within your skin. And then the UVA is what actually browns it. That's what makes it turn brown, because when your melanin is first produced in your skin, it's kind of a pinkish color. So that's why they call it a bronzing lamp, because it has twice as much of that browning power as your regular tanning lamp does. And you see how much more it has. Now, there is a trade-off. In order to have more UVA output, you have less UVB, and there's less UVA too. So that's the basic difference between a tanning and a bronzing lamp. You are going to see that it's more likely somebody that has dark complexion already to begin with, or they tan easily, they might have a better experience with a bronzing lamp. While there are people with fairer skin, and they might require more stimulation of melanin at the beginning stages of the process to get the ball rolling. So that's why they have these two different kinds of families of lamps. There's more information on our website on the difference between tanning and bronzing, and I'll include a link in the description below. But the basic question people might have is, can I convert my tanning bed into a bronzing bed? And yes, certainly you can do that. We help people to do that all the time. One of the main differences usually that you're going to find is because a bronzing lamp is a stronger lamp, you would have a 15-minute exposure time, maximum that is, where on a tanning lamp you usually have a 20-minute exposure time. So if you're doing it correctly, you might reprogram your timer or switch out your timer to have the appropriate session. And again, this is for home tanning beds where the end user can basically do what they want with their product. So again, we're gonna have the link where we show this on the website, and I hope that this clears up. I know I get a lot of questions on this. I hope it clears up some confusion on that. If you're interested in converting your tanning bed to a bronzing bed, or vice versa, please contact us at esbservice.com. Just let us know the type of bed that you have and the type of lamps that you have, and I'm sure we can help you. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you found it informative. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe.